This video is sponsored by DecalWorks, offering 10% off all graphics to retail customers. Use the promo code RX10 at decalmx.com to receive 10% off your graphics.
Welcome everybody, how's it going? I am Chris Kiefer. Welcome to another edition of Garage Builds. You've tuned in to RacerXOnline.com. This is a 2020 CRF250-ish, as in 270. I know a little bit about big bores, but we're not talking about that. We're here with Jay Clark. This is his build. As you guys know, I love backstories. I love to talk about the bike's existence, why it's here, why you're watching this video. So we're going to talk about the backstory after Jay Clark kind of goes over what he did to this thing. So Jay, take it away.
So use a lot of this, similar companies that I work with, and of course the thing looks remarkable. That's the first thing. It looks really cool. DecalWorks did a good job, and this is their new Sparkle. I'm not sure how much it's going to show up on camera.
Can you say that one more time?
Sparkle.
Okay.
And so we're not going to call it glitter. It's Sparkle. Little effect on the graphics, so it looks really cool. Moto seat knocked out our seat cover, and then we have a lot of the same bits and stuff we use, but. For suspension, I went factory connection. They know these Hondas really well. And I told you, a couple weeks ago, I really like the stock suspension on this bike. So I said, just don't mess it up. So keep it like that, but a little bit better for my larger size. And my kid's a little bit bigger as well. So we're like, the stock stuff's so good on this bike. We like it. We just wanted maybe a little bit plusher in some spots and just a little bit better overall. And so that's what we're hoping we got.
FMF system, SCAR foot pegs, ODI handlebars, lock-ons? Lock-ons.
And I've been converted to that just as an
I was kind of too, so that's a good little banter. So why are you converted?
Because I got sick of gluing on grips. And so, and I was always worried these were too thick with my, littler hands. And so I thought they were too thick. I've gotten to where now I really am liking them. And it's way easier with as many bikes as we do. It's a lot easier.
You're scaring me because I feel like we have a lot in common in that. And that's starting to scare me a little bit, Jay.
Right.
I'm turning more and more like you as I get older. Wow, man, it's insane. So, as I mentioned to you guys before, the backstory of this bike. So why are we testing this bike? It's another big bore, Kiefer. What's the big deal? All right, so on the Honda, guys, straight away, when you guys buy a CRF250, the number one email I get is, how come I don't have any bottom end? Doesn't have a lot of torque. Look, I know your pain. I'm very sorry. In the production world, we would like to apologize that this thing needs more torque. You're gonna have to hold tight. Hopefully, getting one of these suckers will help you. So right when I got on this thing, I couldn't believe how much torque I really had for a 250-ish, right? Adding 20 cc's gives you a lot bit more snap, a lot more recovery, a lot more bottom end. Makes it really easy to ride. Look it, I'm in my 40s. I want to lug. I want to ride a 450. So I really love to have a light bike with a lot of power. And it's not that you're putting a lot of power and it's uncontrollable. Now you're just adding a little bit more meat. I guess I like to use that word a lot because you're just adding some more meat, which is like pulling power. It has a lot of that. It makes it really fun. As you guys know, I talk a lot about dirt bikes. So when I really like a bike like this, it's easy for me to talk about and digest and give the information back to you guys. I hopped on this thing today, and one of those days you can go on a straightaway and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be a great day. That's kind of how I felt on this bike, just because I can kind of ride it like a 450-ish with a little bit more aggression. So for me, almost the ultimate vet bike, yeah?
Yeah, and that's what I'm going for. And I've been on the fence with 350s a little bit, but on most of the tracks, especially the smaller tracks, I feel more comfortable on this. And even when the track gets rough, I feel more comfortable on a big bore 250. And that's kind of why I did it. And people are like, well, why don't you just buy a bigger bike and everything? But I do enjoy, and I feel safer on the smaller bike, especially with my skill set and age, because I am even older than you by a bunch. And so I feel safer on the smaller bike. And that's
easy to recover, and if you're getting tired, it's easy to ride when you're tired.
Right. You don't get yourself in trouble when you get out of shape. You just grab more of it, and it's usually okay.
One thing you guys might be wondering about that I always ask about when it comes to big bores is vibration. Usually when you get a big bore, I get a lot of vibration when you're going up in the CCs. I did not feel any more vibration than normal. I have a stock Honda CRF250R here today that my son rides, my 14-year-old son. He's about 120 pounds wet. He likes his stock Honda. He rode this thing. He's like, nope. Too fast, Dad. It's way too fast. I'm in fourth gear. Where I can't be aggressive. So if your kid's a little bit light, small, maybe too much for him. So keep him on the stock bike. So also another really nice feature. Of course, you're gonna have a garage build. You wanna top it off and make it look sexy, right? Blue and red colorway here. Decal Works does an awesome job, but what you may not notice, this thing right here is called a graphic guard. How many times you're putting on graphics and your boot catches it or it gets hot and it starts to peel up and it makes you pissed off? That's right, you load it up and you see it all curled up. That sucks. Graphic guard right here, Decal Works. Also, red carbon P3 skid plate, 0.7 pounds. Very light, very custom, matches the bike. I like that as well. But we're gonna bring in Jamie from Twisted Development right now to talk about what he did to this engine. And there's a lot of stuff inside that maybe you guys don't know about. So Jamie's gonna talk to you a little bit about what he did inside. All right, so the engine, it's a beautiful thing on this bike. This is the man responsible for it. He knows a lot about Hondas, right? He does the Penrite Honda Supercross team. He does those engines. We even talked about a little bit today that those guys are producing more horsepower than this big bore. But tell us exactly what's involved, what'd you do? Talk a little about the Vortex, how that matches up as well to the big bore.
So one of the things with this bike where we started, we have a lot of history, you know, doing the Penrite Honda bikes, as you said. But what we felt is if doing the big bore, you know, we put the whole thing together, mocked it all up, checked all the clearances, see what was in there, see what we were working with. And then we went to modify, you know, we used some Cometic gaskets and stuff like that. But we try to build these garage builds as cheap as we can.
Right.
You can build a $10,000 motorcycle faster than you want, and that niche of customer is so small. So we're known mainly for motocross, supercross. We try to build really high-end stuff, but we try to come in the market too with something that the average working class guy can afford to. So that's kind of what we do here. You know, it's a big bore kit, so it's a 270 cylinder works kit. You can buy it from just about anywhere, I think, at this stage. And what we do to it above and beyond just installing the kit is we have a CNC ported cylinder head. So I've ported enough heads in my life that I want to port them really nice and then be able to copy them. So we have a really good spec. On this spec, we happen to cut the stock seats. We decked the head a little bit to it after we checked all the clearances. And I'd say the outcome came out really good. You know, like per dollar spent, this is a very great package. I think it could hit home with a lot of vet guys. If you're not racing a bore specific class, this is the ultimate way to go.
How much are we talking work-wise, parts involved in this engine? Just give me a guesstimation.
Okay, so we'll start with the Honda. So everything that you start with on a manufacturer build, you have to pick the weakness, okay? This bottom end is stock. It can handle the power, it's fine. Hondas are known for having really good durability. When you buy a Honda, you buy into the name and also the performance. So the rod, the bottom end, everything is stock. We simply installed from the piston up. We did our CNC porting, we did the cylinder. I think they put quite a bit better clutch in this thing as it needs whenever you make that kind of power. And by the time you get it on with the FMF pipes and Vortex ECU after it's been properly tuned, that's whenever everything comes together. You can piece part of it together, get some performance along the way, but you're not gonna end up with this a complete package of everything, you know.
Man, like Jamie said, there's from the top end up, there's a big difference from stock to here. So I really enjoyed riding this bike. I like a lot of torque. As you guys probably watching at home, you want a little bit more torque from your Honda. Is it legal? That's up to you. I may or may not have ran a big bore in my lifetime. That's on you guys. I'm not telling you to do it. Do it. So anyway, Jamie, great motor. As always, you know, you do a lot of these things. You actually work, people might think, hey, Jamie only does factory engines, race teams, but you do a lot of work for the common man, right?
Yeah, I mean, the common man pays the bills.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes, you know, like our niche, like I said, of the supercross teams and the guys that want to spend money and develop time after time after time. You know, you're not going to get, how many of those guys are you going to get?
Right.
You know, but you don't get those guys unless you have the high-end stuff to offer.
Right.
So you can't have one without the other. Fortunate enough, we have a really cool customer base. We have a lot of vet customers that make it really fun, you know, like, if you're not racing a bore-specific class, like I said, super cool, fun. Like, if you love riding motorcycles, this thing's easy to love.
Yeah. Really cool motif as well. Red and blue looks great. Obviously, little bits and pieces from Works Connection, radiator guards. Thing that I really like too is the clutch perch, ODI bars. It is called the Champ Bend. A little bit narrow, but I liked it. Overall, very fun bike to ride. If you want to check it out, you can look at the print edition. There's a parts list in there. You can see everything. Obviously, if you have questions, you can call this man. Or if you have any questions, Chris at KieferInkTesting.com. I'm happy to answer them for you. It's been fun. Man, I love riding dirt bikes. It's a good time. I couldn't pass Jamie earlier. You're getting pretty good.
Two-stroke. I was on my 450.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, we're going to have more of these suckers. Again, a little bit different than you guys are normally used to in these garage builds. A little bit of a backstory here. This thing needed more torque. That's why we're here. So don't forget to visit racerxonline.com to see all of the garage builds and everything that we do. And also don't forget to subscribe to the print edition. Hello, still out there, very cheap, easy to do. We can read, people. I'm 43, but I know some of you 20-year-olds still like to read. Who needs YouTube? Buy a subscription. Thanks, see you later.